Salaam alaikum. Okay. So I'm going to be like, no, do I need a microphone? No. So I'm going to be like Miles Davis. I'm going to tell you about that from here. Ahmed Apara, and I always like to participate on any program that has a chance to enhance the whole concept of the African personality and knowledge. As the brothers were saying about the drums, it talks about struggle, and it's usually personified by men. But this instrument right here, it also uplifts the women as well. There's a story, it's a folk story. And folk story is one that's passed on from folk to folk. And this story right here is about a woman warrior. Women weren't only just in the field. Women were also warriors as well. And her name was Marimba of the Zulu nation. Gave rise to Shaka Zulu long before him. And the great Marimba, as I call her, when she went into battle, with one of 150 men flanked on the right, 150 men flanked on the left, and they defeated the Maasai. It's a story that we've been passed on, and somehow it got to me. She said, let this lethal instrument, which looks like a bow, for hunting and for war, she said, let it be an instrument of peace. So she picked up the bow of the enemy, put on a squash, took a piece of bamboo, and she began to play it. And the world got what was known as his first Makwanyena. We see this instrument today in the African martial art that they call capoeira, and you get the Portuguese word called berimbau. We hear in America we speak English, but we know we have some native languages. And when I talk about this instrument and trying to enhance understanding of our culture, the history of our culture, I like giving the African name. The first name was Makwanyena. And again, it was created by Marimba. And when you study the history of Marimba, she took many tools that were lethal and made them into instruments of peace. It's kind of like a passage from out of the Old Testament somewhere in the Quran. I'm not quite sure where it says, let your sword also be your plow as well. The sword which causes death sheds blood into the earth. Yes. Also let the sword till the earth and bring life. And till the earth and bring life. Such also was the creation of many instruments by the great Marimba. There's also the story of the Marimba itself, which is called the xylophone. It first was a harness, used to trap animals. And the story goes, passed on from folk to folk, that some young boys went out and they trapped a deer, a fawn, which is not in puberty, and it couldn't reproduce. And they felt that was a bad omen. So what the great Marimba did was took that harness, put shells on it and some wood on the top, and it became the Marimba. That's what we know as the xylophone today. But there's many, many other stories that have been passed on, that are part of our history, and they need to be passed on, to enhance our personality, enhance, our connection to the continent, because President Sekou Touré, first president of Guinea, he said the highest height of culture is not just the art, the food, the song, and the dance, and it's not just fighting against forces of nature, but the highest height of culture is to fight against unjust political systems. And that's what our women did, and that's also the history of this instrument right here was also fighting against forces of nature. And it has many, many names. In Southern Africa, they call it not only Makwanyena, they call it Ugubu. In Ethiopia, they call it Kejo. And Southwest Africa, just called Namibia, they call it Chilombo. And there's one other word, which they kind of call Kadi or Hadi, which kind of means the guide. And it kind of is used there as a guide, especially there in Brazil, when our people were using it for the song and dance of capoeira. And as the next presentation comes up, they will tell you more in terms of the different rhythms and so that our people have used to communicate and to send messages to each other, all part of our history. So, Marco Yang.